And then we're a race against time. We've got 10 minutes, Chris.
Okay, so as part of the Challenging Perceptions presentation, we wanted to introduce a partner to this presentation slideshow. So we've introduced, brought along Chris Brook here. If you want to just do a short introduction, Chris, into your job role and what you do for us.
Yeah, so I'm Chris Brook and I work at Ellis Guildford School, and I've been Assistant Principal for Personal Development, which is a focus on careers and supporting students to know their options post-16, really.
Lovely, thank you. Welcome aboard. So my first topic of agenda that I wanted us to discuss was education, and it's great to have you as part of the panel here. Can you give us an insight into young minds and what they're thinking when they are leaving school and their opportunities ahead of them?
Yeah, I think we've got a conflict in education. So what's being pushed is outcomes, which, you know, is one part of it. So students are key about getting grades and getting the grades that they need to go to wherever they want to do. But my personal view is that we aim to give all the options to each student so that they can make the best informed choice they can about what they want to do when they leave Ellis Guildford.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
And Aaron, have you come across from an employer's perspective what they're looking for when they're hiring apprentices?
Yeah, I think that as business owners, the common misconception is what apprentices are able to achieve and deliver within the workplace. You know, there is a conception that they're maybe not work ready. You know, how do we identify that and get them work ready from a school environment and for them to propel into the actual working world or the real world, as some may call it. And also the fact that they have an idea that an apprentice is potentially less reliable or more likely to call in sick than a generic employee, which is not the case. If the recruitment process is what it needs to be in terms of characteristics and the kind of people that you're looking to bring into the organisation, then they're as much or as less likely to be away from the business as anybody else. So we just need to make sure that that recruitment piece from our side and from the business's point of view is right. But it's about finding the correct characters from the school education system, really.
Thank you. And with regards to the sort of people that are coming forward to programmes, I know, Aaron, you specialise in IT recruitment at Remit Training for us. Are you seeing an uplift of girls that are coming into the programme? We're looking at women in tech and championing that from our perspective at head office. And also for yourself, Chris, have you seen a trend of girls coming into the industry over the last couple of years of choosing their options?
Should I go first, Chris? I think that, you know, there's a massive push within IT. We're calling it the gender skills gap. There's a skills gap generically in IT anyway, in which that, you know, a lot of the experience is legacy experience, and businesses are struggling to understand how they can give that experience back and grow a team, which apprenticeships are now becoming to the forefront. However, the IT industry is predominant in struggling to attract female apprentices or employees in general. So that's something that we're working on as an IT division. That probably falls under the diversity campaign that's going on as well. So there's a lot of key touching points within IT that need a lot of work. So I'd just be interested to see from Chris's perspective what schools are really doing in order to sort of like attract women to tech or girls to tech.
I think in terms of schools, all students at Ellis Guildford are given the same access to ICT from year 7 to 9. However, females are less likely to choose it at year 10 to 11. Maybe this is because it's a male-dominated course usually. So even if you did want to pick it as a female, you may be put off. Also, our ICT department, it's heavily male-dominated. So again, the lack of role model. In addition, I think Aaron's touched on this, that the IT they use is not necessarily stuff that's in the curriculum that they already are great at using. So, you know, our students are big on social media, but that's not even touched upon in IT at year 10 and 11. It's not getting into the skills that they use. And a lack of role models and manoeuvrability in the curriculum are massive issues for enabling students, but girls especially, to be able to pick it.
I think that disconnect is clear to see between schools, maybe even between schools and apprenticeships, and then that leap into the business environment. You know, the skills that are required at a business level, Laura, and not necessarily the skills that are taught in the education system at the school age. So I think that apprenticeships can be a sort of key bridge to allow those skills to be trained out whilst earning an income. So it is a great route for young people. It's just my job, I suppose, to educate both the children and the parents in regards to the benefits of apprenticeships, because I suppose a misconception is that apprenticeships are, you know, for manual roles or for students that haven't done well in school, when in actual fact every sector in this country has an apprenticeship qualification designed for it, and therefore there is a route into every business if you know what area to look in.
Fantastic, thank you both of you. And in terms of recruitment, have you seen any, based on your own personal experiences as well as helping young people into employment and preparing them for such which, have you seen any bias or prejudice within the recruitment sector taking place when applying for jobs yourselves, or coming across anything at all?
For me personally, it's not been to do with gender, it's been more to do with perceptions and stereotypes. So I'm a PE teacher by trade, and the perception is that PE teachers are not very clever, and that's why they teach PE. So I've had to fight against that throughout just to get up to assistant principal, but it's never held me back because I've been driven on by that to achieve what I want to. But other than that, no bias over here.
I suppose my opinion on that is slightly different, Laura. I think that there's a lot of boundaries that I've come across, or that people that look like me have come across, in terms of, you know, the ethnic and diverse barriers that you look at within the education system. It can be things such as having teachers or head teachers that don't necessarily look like me, therefore they're potentially not as aspirational as it could potentially be. It can break down into as finite detail as the subjects that we're learning in regards to history, geography, maybe even, and we're not talking about things that maybe happen to people from the cultural backgrounds that I relate to a little bit more. But again, that boils down to curriculum. And then you have the generic, within recruitment anyway, you have the generic, what we call subconscious biases, which is, you know, people in business talk about, we've got culture within this business, but it's not in the archetypal form of cultural appropriation. It's not about having a diverse workforce. It's more sometimes about how the organisation conducts itself and the people that are within that organisation. And therefore that culture actually means that there's a lot of people who think or look the same. And therefore when the recruiter, whether internal or external, is recruiting, they're looking for like people. So that could be, you know, something as simple as a name or an area that they're from, or a religious belief maybe even. So I think that there is a lot of subconscious bias within the recruitment process, but it's difficult to iron it out in some cases.
Absolutely, it's a lot of food for thought. We're going to open it up to a Q&A at the end of the session today, but I wanted to thank you both for your time. Is there anything that you wanted to bring to the table before we call this to a close?
I'm all right with that, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. Enjoy your afternoons.
Bye.
See you later.